last speaker for this session is Ms. Jieping, a doctoral student from the University of Tsukuba, Japan. She's interested in the characteristic of different languages, and she's curious about cognitive processing in different languages. She's studying the underlying skills and the development of reading and writing literacy among Chinese students. So she'll be presenting about the importance of cognitive abilities related to reading and writing attainment in Chinese third graders. So let us put our hands together to welcome our third speaker for this breakout session.
Thank you for your introduction. Hello, everyone. And my name is Jieping. Okay, I'm a graduate student from University of Tsukuba, Japan, and it is my pleasure to present our study at here today. And also, this is my first time to visit Singapore, and I'm a little worried before I arrive in this city because I'm not a fluent English speaker, but I'm really relaxed because so many people speak to me in Chinese. Now I'm here and I hope our research can be understood and received at this conference. So today I would like to talk about the relationship between Chinese reading and writing acquisition and cognitive abilities. I would like to start by talking about the differences of these three kinds of Chinese. Many studies have been conducted in Hong Kong and Taiwan to investigate the relationship between Chinese reading acquisition and cognitive abilities. To compare with the research conducted in Hong Kong and Taiwan, study of reading and writing development of school children in mainland China are relatively fewer. Mainland China differs from Hong Kong and Taiwan either in script of the spoken language. Cantonese is used in Hong Kong, and school children learn to read Chinese without a phonetic coding system. On the other hand, Mandarin is used in Taiwan and mainland China, where using 注音符号 or pinyin to teach children to read. Moreover, when the relatively complicated traditional Chinese characters are used in Hong Kong and Taiwan, the simplified Chinese characters are used in mainland China. This difference suggests research into the cognitive constructs related to reading and writing in mainland China are also important. In previous research, many cognitive abilities have been tested, as well as reading tests were conducted. There are some cognitive abilities considered to be important in Chinese reading development. For example, phonological awareness, visual skills, vocabulary knowledge, and naming speed. However, most studies mainly focus on one of several cognitive abilities of Chinese children and fail to provide a full picture of the cognitive profile correlated with Chinese literacy attainment. Therefore, our study's purpose is to investigate the relationship between reading and writing acquisition and cognitive abilities of school children in mainland China. And 140 third-grade Chinese children from a primary school in Ningbo, Zhejiang, China, participated in our study. We chose the third graders as the participants because they just finished the first stage of schooling in primary school. In the next In the next few slides, I will be showing you some text and materials used in this study. Here, you can see the reading and writing test, which included reading accuracy test, reading fluency test, and word writing test. First, the reading accuracy test. In the reading accuracy test, both the word reading test and non-word reading test included 40 stimuli. Each test consisted of 21 character and 22 character stimuli. All word stimuli were selected from the textbooks that had already been studied by the participant. In non-word reading test, one character non-word stimuli were the component characters of the dissyllable words, which did not comprise a meaningful word by itself. For example, 苹 is a part of the compound word 苹果, which means apple, but this single character 苹 has no meaning by itself. And two character non-word stimuli were created by replacing the character that used in the two character word reading test. For example, 棒机 is the component of compound word 傍晚, which means sunset, and 肌肤, which means skin. Non-word reading tests were conducted before word reading test. In reading accuracy test, the participants' score was a total number of correctly pronounced stimuli. Second, the reading fluency test. In the reading fluency test, both the rapid word reading test and the rapid non-word reading test included 18 stimuli. Each test consisted of 10 one-character and 8 two-character stimuli. All word stimuli were selected from the textbooks that had already been studied by the participant. Similar to the reading accuracy test, in the reading fluency test, one-character non-word stimuli were the component characters of dissyllable words, and two-character non-word stimuli were created by replacing the character in the two-character compound word. For the rapid paragraph reading test, we used an original story, which included 336 words. In the fluency test, the children were required to read the word and non-word stimuli and the paragraph as quickly as possible. The duration of each task was estimated by the experimenter using a stopwatch, and this measure represented the participants' scores. Third, word writing test. To evaluate word writing accuracy, a word writing test was conducted. 12 two-character compound words were printed out in pinyin, and the children were asked to write down corresponding words. Each participant's score was determined according to the number of correctly spelled words. Only when both characters in a stimulus were correctly spelled, 1 point was accounted. Here you can see the cognitive ability test. For the cognitive ability test, first, Rey-Osterrieth Complex Figure Test, we copy drawing, immediate recall, and delayed recall after 30 minutes was used to assess children's visual information processing abilities. Second, the phonological awareness test. In the Onset deletion and rime deletion test, children were orally presented with one-syllable Mandarin words and asked to take away the initial or final phoneme. For example, 声 without the initial sound would be 猪 without the final sound would be zhi. There were 5 items for each subtask, for a total of 10 real syllables. The children were required to complete nonverbal repetition tests with stimuli composed of 3 to 9 syllables. The children were asked to listen to each nonword carefully and then to repeat the nonword. The stimuli were ordered for increasing length of syllables. For the nonverbal repetition test, real syllables were combined in a random order. Third, rapid automatized naming required the children to name as quickly as possible the drawing of objects and digits in each row. For example, children are required to read down 2猫7船3角6 as quickly as possible. The RAN test had 1 practice and 3 trials. The duration of naming all stimuli was measured in each trial. The average duration for 3 trials was used as the participants' score in the analysis. Here we have the intelligence test. 11 color progress batches were administered as a nonverbal intelligence test. The test included 13 items and was divided into 3 sets with 12 items each. The items were ordered for increasing difficulty. For each item, a colored pattern with a missing part was presented to the participants. They were asked to select the correct missing part from 6 choices. Next slide, standardized comprehension test of abstract words, which is a standardized test given in Japan, was administered to the children as a vocabulary test. 16 items were selected from a Chinese version, except that some items were modified to make it suitable for local cultures. The children were presented with 6 pictures for each item on a slide projector screen and were given the target word orally. They were required to repeat the word orally twice after the tester. For example, 亲切, which means kindness, and then asked to select one picture that is accord with the target word. So let's move on to the result. Data from children with RCPM score below -1.5 standardized deviation of the mean score, and from children who did not participate in all of the tests were excluded, which resulted in the exclusion of 7 children. As a result, 136 typical children were included in the analysis. For the exploratory factor analysis, you will notice that factor 1 consisted of RO safety immediate recall and RO safety delayed recall. Factor 2 consists of RO safety copy drawing, RO safety delayed recall, and RO safety immediate recall. Factor 3 consisted of onset deletion. And what is interesting here is factor 1 appeared to consist of variables measuring visual processing, such as visual memory and visual information retrieval, and thus factor 1 was labeled visual memory. Factor 2 appeared to consist of information on visual perception, visual short-term memory, and visual long-term memory. and thus factor 2 was labeled visual perception, and factor 3 consisted of a variable related to phonological processing, such as skills of identifying, manipulating, and reproducing phonological units, and thus factor 3 was labeled phonological awareness. In previous studies, naming speed is found to be significantly correlated with reading performance, and vocabulary skills are important tasks which can distinguish Chinese dyslexic readers from age-matched controls. Therefore, we decided to add the performance on etc. and len in multiple regression analysis to determine the relationship between reading and writing performance and the cognitive abilities. Etc. were labeled receptive vocabulary, and len was labeled naming speed. Next, multiple regression analysis were conducted to determine how effectively visual memory, visual perception, and phonological awareness, as well as naming speed and receptive vocabulary, will predict reading ability. The important point here is the result of multiple regression analysis indicated that visual memory was a unique predictor of two-character word reading, while phonological awareness was a unique predictor of two-character non-word reading. Furthermore, the result revealed that rapid word reading, rapid non-word reading, and rapid paragraph reading was significantly predicted by naming speed. What's more, word writing performance was significantly predicted by phonological awareness and naming speed when the cognitive ability measures were used as the independent variables. However, what is interesting here is when word reading and non-word reading measures were added as the independent variables, the performance on word writing was significantly predicted by the performance on word reading and non-word reading. On the other hand, visual perception and receptive vocabulary were not significant predictors of Chinese reading or writing abilities in our study. And this graph shows the relationship between reading performance and scores of cognitive abilities. Our results also indicated that none of the analyzed cognitive abilities were unique predictor of Chinese writing ability when the scores on the word and non-word reading test were used as predictor variables of writing accuracy. This finding suggested that reading ability is the most important predictor of accurate Chinese writing. Move on to the discussion. I would like to summarize the main findings of this study. Firstly, the results of the present study showed that phonological awareness significantly predict Chinese non-word reading. The results of our study are consistent with previous research of alphabetic language. For alphabetic language, phonological decoding skills are often measured by asking children to read non-words. The results of our study are similar to the research of Hall and Bryant, which found that there was significant correlation among Chinese pseudo-characters reading and rime detection. Different from Hall and Bryant's study, which used pseudo-characters as stimuli, our study administered the non-word reading task in which stimuli were created by replacing the characters used in the two-character word reading task. Although the stimuli are different between whole and brain study and ours, a similar result that phonological awareness affects the performance of Chinese non-word character reading or pseudo-character reading was obtained. Secondly, in line with the studies of Huang and Henry and Ring and Uno, we found that the visual memory test is the most powerful predictor of word reading performance. It appears that visual memory is closely related to the ability to learn a new Chinese character, given that the Chinese education system recommends that children should have learned to recognize over 417 different characters by the end of their first year at primary school and about 4,000 by the 6th grade. A child with excellent visual memory skills is likely to have a significant advantage when he or she learns to read Chinese characters. Our finding that visual memory abilities is an important predictor of Chinese word reading is in accord with the previous research and indicated that visual memory abilities is important for the acquisition of the visual complicated Chinese orthographies. Thirdly, we found that the naming speed as measured by the RAND test is not a unique predictor of reading accuracy, whereas naming speed is a robust predictor of reading fluency of words, non-words, and a paragraph. In line with what has been found in alphabet, orthographic, and Japanese, RAND correlated more strongly with reading fluency than with reading accuracy in Chinese. The RAND test in this study was used to measure the ability of retrieving phonological information from orthographical or semantic representation, and therefore it shares the same process with the rapid reading task, which requests that children may map phonology to character or word as quickly as they could. Finally, the positive law of reading ability in writing is consistent with previous findings. Reading accuracy and spelling acquisition are often investigated together because the process of spelling words included the common process for reading, and correlational analysis have shown a strong relationship between these two skills. Chinese children who are skilled readers are good at mapping script to the sound, and in return, a proficient reading skill may facilitate them in retrieving the orthographic forms of the writing character that match the sound and meaning of the target lexicon word in the mental lexicon during the writing task. Okay. The result of our present study revealed that visual cognition and phonological awareness were significant predictors for word and non-word reading, respectively. Naming speed showed a significant contribution to the rapid reading of word, non-word, and paragraph. Our results also indicated that the performance in word and non-word reading contribute to predicting writing test scores. The present results have implications on the design of a useful test for screening of poor readers of Chinese. And thank you for your attention.